Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I will be reviewing my gameplay with Beast of Reincarnation. So I played this game for 30 hours and I did complete it. Right now I'm just at a second playthrough with the new game plus. It did say that the enemies will hit harder. So yeah, it's called Beast and Reincarnation mode or something like that. So it's supposed to be harder than the harder difficulty. I just want to give you my thoughts and my opinions about the game. So like initially when I pre-purchased this game, like a lot of people were already reviewing the product or this game, and it was like mixed review and a lot of them were kind of negative, and then that kind of made me not want to play the game as much because of all the negativity that went with the game. And then while these negative thoughts were in my mind as I was playing through the game, like it kind of affected my experience. So yeah, as I played through the game, I started liking it. Like it started becoming better and better because the combat started to click, the gameplay started to click, the traversal started to click, the combat started to click. So everything started to click as you progress through the game, and it doesn't take you long to do that. I mean, like compared to like Crimson Desert where you need like 50 hours or so just to get the game to click to you, this game you need like maybe 10-15 hours plus for you to for this game to click. But yeah, I want to talk about the combat in this that really made this game shine. I mean, there are, you know, drawbacks to it, but I'll get to that. So if you are wondering how I got this outfit, it's basically a mod. So that I like to play all my games on PC because of the mods that you can do with the game, and also ultra wide support. Unfortunately, this game doesn't have ultra wide support just yet. They haven't implemented it, but you have to mod it in. So the next thing I like about this game is the traversal. Like you can like basically jump and then kind of like double jump sort of in other games, but the roots that grows, it gives you that height. It's a very nice way to get around. Not only that, you can use it in combat too, and it's really fun to use it. Like you have this helm splitter ability to just like drop bombs on them or something. You just drop this down and then they just essentially just explode and die. So you can even extend your hair like this and then you just rope it and basically do that during battle with the traversal system. It's really nice, so I'm going to do it again. I really like how smooth that is to pair it off with an ability like that. So if it allows you that little prompt, when you see that blue square, you can just use your hair and just jump to that point, which is pretty cool. And then not only that, it allows you to like extend your hair and you can still jump to that point. And then that way you can get even further to other places like this towering little golem over here, and you can adventure some more. So I really like this aspect of the game. So not only that, you could use the hair to even help you assassinate enemies from up high. So I'm going to try over here. And bam, very satisfying to do. Another good ability with this jumping system, like when you get height, you can slow down time when you're actually aiming. So I'm gonna aim my arrow. See, I'm slowing down time as I'm in the air. So that's pretty cool. Slowing down time, aiming. Really love it. So I like all games that allow you to assassinate because it gives you the opportunity to strategize your kind of combat style. So yeah, just jumping around and hovering over them and then assassinating is quite rewarding, and I like it because it's just one shot. And also there are double assassination in this too. So as you can see, I'm gonna assassinate this and then my dog can assassinate the other guy, which I really like. Unfortunately, the assassination is not really far enough. So see here, I try to assassinate that guy like I'm used to Where Winds Meet, because your assassination prompt is further, but for this game you have to get up really close for you to assassinate correctly. So also sometimes if you don't have the right angle, like over here, I can like I press my X but it just didn't register. So as you see again, like I'm like, forget it, I'm just gonna attack this guy. Another thing I like is the exploitation of the weakness system. See, boom, that guy was weak against fire and it tells you straight away. You don't have to do any like scanning or anything like that. So yeah, that's that. So unfortunately, this game doesn't have a outfit system. You do have different outfits, but you do not change your actual skin when you put on these outfits. As you can see, I grabbed all these different outfits here. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't upgrade these outfits if you like a certain one. So you have to stick to the ones that, you know, they give you here at the end. And it sucks because some of them only have 5 slots, some of them have 6 slots. Those slots are basically your ability to mod it with stronger kind of things, stones that you put in. So yeah, that's unfortunate that you can't upgrade the ones that you want to. But I mean, it doesn't matter too much as long as you just like get the final armor pieces, and then that's probably your best one to have. But you do have to be aware that there are like enemy awareness levels, so there's low and there's high, so you would have to use one or the other compared to which one. But then you lose some of your slots, which sucks. And that just means that when you equip something that has 5 slots going from 6 slot, that means that when you go back to your 6 slot, you would have to like re-equip your mods, and it doesn't save, so you can't save your mods. And especially when you're fighting so many mods that you have to scroll through all of these different mods that you can do on your thing, and it kind of gets tedious trying to like slot them back and forth. So kind of sucks that you can't upgrade that. So luckily I am on PC, so I can mod this game that can just have +6 to all of these armors, as well as I could just mod the outfit too. So as you can see, I have like the Stellar Blade skin on. So yeah, I can have different types of skins that I want through modding the game. So that's one drawback. Is like you have all these outfits in the game, but you can't even like use them because, or you can't even view them on yourself because the game just forgot about allowing you to have different outfits on. So the next thing I like about this game is kind of the exploration system. There's basically multiple zones that you can explore. So as you can see here, like the first zone is kind of pretty open, but they kind of trick you when it comes to that because as you go through the game, the zone starts getting more narrow. So if I go to the next zone, see, as you can see, your zone is pretty narrow here, and there's going to be more invisible walls as you encounter. And then we go to the third zone, even smaller, and then, you know, the fourth zone. The game just keeps getting smaller and smaller and more narrow and more direct when it comes to the story. You don't really get to the actual story until like maybe chapter 8 to chapter 9. That's when they start discussing things. So I feel like a lot of people, when they're playing the reviews, when they played this game, they only like played for the first or second zone, and then they just review it from there. Because right now, if you see over here, like the amount of people who actually finish the game is only 14.1%. So, and to actually, like, for completionists, there's only like 3% people who are actually a completionist that plays the game to its full amount. But yeah, 14.1% actually completed the game out of, or 15,000 players that were all at once online. So yeah, only 14%, like maybe 2,000 players are the ones that finished the game out of the 15,000 that played the game in Steam. Obviously there's Game Pass and things like that, so there's more people. But again, remember, these Steam achievements are tied to just Steam purchases, so you could know that about 2,000 players completed the game. I feel like a lot of times the reviews for this game is not justified, and a lot of people are just regurgitating what one content creator says about the game, and all these negativities just get transferred from one content creator to the next without even letting the game breathe. So I feel like the game starts to breathe like, you know, 5 to 10 hours in, like I mentioned at first, while Crimson Desert was like 50 hours in, and yet Crimson Desert has a mostly positive review, but this game has a mixed review, which I don't get, because I played Crimson Desert for 50 hours and I still cannot get into it, and it's just so like repetitive and boring, and the combat is kind of boring to me. And in this game, as you can see, I'm fighting some bosses here, and I think the combat is really well done. However, there are some like drawbacks to the combat, as there are like sometimes you might get like, you think that it's like input delay, but I think if you play the game enough, that input delay is not really an input delay. It's more like it's like a consistent input delay. It's not. So if when something is consistent, that means the game, I guess it is. When what I would say is that if something is consistent, I guess it's a feature of the game. So you would just have to get used to how this combat system works. So yeah, so sometimes when I'm pressing dodge or when I'm pressing parry, it's like it doesn't register. But at the same time, when I press those buttons, it's because I was pressing something else first, and then it just didn't register. But like as when I was going through the game and as I keep fighting more bosses and bosses, I got used to how the system works. So my parry's gotten better, my dodge has gotten better, and I complained a lot less. So the people who do complain about the combat, about the input delay, is maybe they're just experiencing it for the first time because they only fought 1 or 2 bosses and they felt that delay. But as you kind of get used to it, like almost any other games that have different combat system, you get used to. So I hear a lot of times when people are complaining about like the boss battles and things, or the variety of enemies in this game. I think it's fine. Like I seriously think it's fine that the variety isn't that much, and like the bosses, I think it's the variety in the bosses is good enough that I don't really notice that it's been repeated. Because if you see here, I'm fighting something that is a flying beast over here, and that's kind of different from your like 3 to 4 attacks that people are complaining about of the bosses. I mean, they may like have different reskins when it comes to like the melee bosses and things like that, but I feel like it's fine. Like I don't understand the complaint about reusing boss mechanics on different things. I mean, like I do get it, because a lot of the people who complain about like the bosses not having different movesets, or like they're fighting the same boss over and over again as you progress through the game, like those types of players are Dark Souls, like Souls players. Like they play Black Myth Wukong, or like Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and things like that, where each bosses that they encounter have different movesets and you have to learn each movesets all the time. However, remember, this game is not supposed to be difficult. So once you learn the combat and you learn the pattern of things, you take that with you. You don't like forget what you learned before fighting the next big thing. And that's what like action RPG is. Like, it's not supposed to be hard. This game isn't supposed to be hard, and it's not supposed to be a Dark Souls game. Like if you compare it to other games, maybe Devil May Cry, or like your other action RPG, even Kingdom Hearts, to be a little bit less of, you know, the parry and stuff. But like all of these other games, you don't see people complaining about. Like, I don't understand why this game gets so much complaints about the reusable combat or the reusable enemies, when other games reuse their enemies, and yet, you know, nobody says a word. It's so stupid. Like even right now, I'm like fighting 3 different guys over here, and that's kind of a big variety already in the game. Like as you can see, the footages that I have been showing so far, it hasn't been any repeats. Like I don't understand why people think that this game repeated a lot of different encounters, but it's not a repeat. It's like there's enough variables in this game that makes the game interesting. Like this little session over here, it took me like maybe 3 tries to beat, because like they're all attacking you at the same time, and you need to like kind of pace yourself and strategize on how to take care of these 3. One bad thing is that when an enemy is attacking you from behind, you cannot block that. Like even though you have your parry on, they can still hit you. So that's one drawback when it comes to fighting multiple enemies. So not only that, you take it further to a boss fight now. Like at first, what you just saw was elite enemies, and this one is a boss fight, and you're fighting 2 bosses at once. So like the variety is there. It's just that people aren't playing enough of the game to even encounter those variety. Like 5 to 10 hours, come on, man. Like seriously, these days, like kids and people, like they have this TikTok brain that they just can't get more than 10 seconds before they complain about something. But yeah, just let it cook. Like I seriously. And like for the combat, you have like so many different combos that you can upgrade that makes the game more exciting. Like for me, I obviously upgraded every single skill that I can, so that I can use them all during the gameplay, so I can kind of use different things. Like I like to have a big variety of things like that, and I like the game that it allows you to have all your skills upgraded, because you just grind it out. Like a lot of other games, you have to choose a particular path and then you have to reset it and then choose other things. I mean, you do that in this game too. You could reset your skills and then choose a different path, but I would like the option to be able to upgrade everything if I wanted to. If I grind out the experience and the levels, that I can upgrade all of the combat abilities so that I can use them all at once, and they all can be just as effective and it won't be weak. So I like that about this game. Like, I don't have to be forced into one play style, into one encounter, because, you know, I just want to do something else. I also like the combat with the dog. Like, the dog is very OP. Like, its skills, once you get most of the skills upgraded for the dog, he kind of like, he can like one-shot the entire room if he wanted to, if you upgrade it correctly. So like the dog and yourself, unfortunately you share the same skill tree, so you have to grind even more to upgrade both your dog and yourself in terms of your combat abilities, which I kind of don't like, because that's even more grinding that you don't want to do. Another thing I like about this game is that you have the option to use range, and the range is actually meaningful. Like it does so much damage that you can like pretty much get away with killing a boss just using range attacks, and that's something I like too. Like, you're not limited to just fighting melee. You could just range it, and you can just use your dog, and you can pretty much annihilate the enemy that way. Unfortunately, as you can see, the camera angle is kind of bad sometimes, and the devs are working on it. So yeah, just bear with the camera angle. I mean, if you play enough games and you know like certain patterns and things like that, you kind of don't even need to see what's gonna happen, as long as you know like the colors that they are doing and the timing of when to parry, even though if the camera is like not really in your favor. Like, I got used to the camera in this game that even if I'm like blindfolded, as long as, or not blindfolded, but as long as I could see the boss and I don't need to see myself, and I could read his move and parry it. Another complaint is like the second phase of the boss has the similar moveset as the first phase. Like, you don't really get any difference between first and second phase, so there's really no point in giving you a cutscene before the second phase happened. Like, they're pretty much the same thing. I mean, like, I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, not I don't see anything wrong with it in terms of an action RPG game, but obviously for a Souls game, the second phase usually supposed to be stronger and things like that. But I mean, like, for this game and for how I like non-Dark Souls games, I think it's fine for me. But for most people who play Dark Souls, it's probably a problem. But yeah, for me, it's not a problem. I mean, I still enjoy the combat, and I actually feel relieved that the second phase isn't stronger, since, like, I mean, like, I have a life, you know, I have a job and things like that. Like, I don't want to spend hours just trying to defeat one boss. I mean, I played those kinds of games, Elden Ring, Black Myth Wukong, and things like that. I don't want to keep on repeating and repeating. And like, if I get through the first phase and the second phase I can't get through, it's like then the first phase becomes a time waster, because you're just trying to learn the second phase now, and then you get through the first phase, it takes you a couple minutes, and then that couple minutes could have been used practicing the second phase. But yeah, I just didn't like that. But for this game, like, you know that the second phase isn't going to be as bad as the first one, so you're kind of less stressed about, you know, fighting the second phase, which I like. Obviously that opinion is subjective. So overall, I mean, what I think about this game, so $60 is a high asking price for a game like this. I just feel like I don't think it's worth the $60, which a lot of people do agree. I mean, if this was like $30 to $40, that would definitely be where you would want to try the game at. So the people who purchased this with Game Pass is like $15, so I think a lot of people have less complaints when it comes to playing this game on Game Pass. But yeah, if you were to want to try this game out, you would want to try to wait for a sale, so that way you will be able to get this without regrets. So there are some drawbacks in the game, and I just want to go over some of the issues that we have and the devs have not fixed yet. Maybe they'll fix it after this video goes live. So one of them is the camera issue that people complain. Like, sometimes when you're fighting big bosses, the camera just doesn't know what to do. So you'll have to fight against the camera more than you are fighting against the bosses. So overall, I think like the game has like this K-shaped economy in terms of reviews. Like there are people praising it and there are people who absolutely hate it. Like there's no people in the middle. It's like it's completely split. Like for me, I am actually in the middle for the game. Like there's some good aspects to the game and there are some drawbacks to the game, but overall I think it's a pretty fun game to play, because this game I can actually just play it through and complete the game. Other games that I have played before, like Crimson Desert, I just cannot play through because I just couldn't get through it with all the repetitiveness and unnecessary grind. But I do have to admit, like, this game doesn't really hook me to the point where I'm like staying up at night playing this game hours on end. Like I'm able to put this game down and then come back to it later and then put it down again and come back to it later. Like there are very few games that makes me like, oh, I really want to play this game again and or keep on playing it. Yeah, this game doesn't give you that feeling. Like you just play one zone and then you're done for the day and then you play the next zone for another day. So yeah, there's that. Yeah guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little review that I have. Let me know what you guys think about this game and I'll see you guys in the next video.